Okay, so I have two, and I'm kind of downer, sorry. The first one is called Rewrite. The first thing I had to rewrite was my skin. Well, it was the recalibration needed, I noticed first. I could tell because I started to find myself touch-starved, fingers aching for flesh, arms strangled in sadness. He had a monopoly on my body, and when I left him, that claim remained. One might suggest I go out and touch people. I'm sure my friends wouldn't mind holding hands, receiving extra embraces, and one would be right. They wouldn't mind. They didn't mind. But the hard part was turning off the wrongness, shutting out the screaming sirens in my brain like a bank vault shouting when its charge is taken away. He was the one who held the keys to my skin, and he never gave them back to me. He never asked for them in the first place. The next thing I had to rewrite was my manner, the way I held myself. Did you know humans pick up traits from one another the more time they spend together? Just little things like voice alterations, phrases, and gestures. Another thing I had to rewrite was places, shambling shacks in my brain, still sturdy outside to this day. When I say the last time I was here was with him, my friends stopped silent. Another thing I rewrite is my memory. This one isn't a conscious decision. Did you know brains repress trauma? Lately, I feel like I'm rewriting the same words again and again, obsessively owing an homage to little girls who have never loved and don't know what it means, kids who put their hearts in two angry hands and get caught in crossfire and are used for things they'd never imagined. I rewrite him again and again, hoping this will heal me. Months after, I'm rewriting the feel of him choking back tears as my body starts to rewrite itself, writhing while writing, full of pain and poison and memory I hadn't had for months. For my brain to rewrite over trauma, I had to relive every trauma. I had to rewrite my skin because it never stopped being his. His hands were still tangible on my chest. I had to rewrite my mannerisms because there were still traces of him there. And when I felt myself falling into him, I felt like I was a melting wax doll of dread and despair. I had to rewrite our words because the last ones we shared didn't hold enough venom, and the revisions still didn't tell him what I felt. But he apologized for causing me pain he can't understand, and he told me he wouldn't approach me. But I forgot to rewrite my trust in him to none, so I panicked when he approached me at a fast food chain. He said, "Hello, Lizzie." 2 words, and I had to rewrite months of healing. I had to rewrite love, too. He poisoned the idea for me, his toxic version invading my subconscious. I rewrite to make sure I don't go back to that. I rewrite love is joy, love is trust, love is beautiful. Love does not give you panic attacks and flashbacks. I'm still writing and rewriting, but I seem to be closer to the final draft of this chapter. I rewrote my reaction when around him. Recently, I spent hours in the same room as him and only panicked twice. I'm rewriting the stars and my smile and French kisses and my social life, and he can't hurt me anymore. I'm rewritten. This one's called Triggered. I am sick and tired of this. What are you, triggered? Yes! Yes, I am, often. In fact, that statement said in a mocking tone is almost like a trigger for me nowadays because it tells my brain I'm in an unsafe situation and I need to get out. See, my life is full of triggers, rather. My life is full of things that make it hell. The sound of the tracks train, the tracks themselves, certain words and phrases, including but not limited to, oh, come on, and yeah, my chest is a trigger, hands are triggers, self-harm scars are triggers, talking about suicidal tendencies is a trigger. A trigger is something that makes you have a flashback, panic attack, or similar fight or flight response that leaves you barely capable of regular function. A trigger is the reason I only see blood when I see pencil sharpeners. My trauma is not a punchline. My life is not a joke. There are some obscure triggers. I've heard of a girl who would be triggered by eggs over easy because she made her rapist breakfast. I know of a blogger that can't stand the sight of soup broth because it's all she could eat for a month in the hospital. I am terrified of trains. Depending on the day, I find myself on the ground, my body racked with sobs because my brain associates the sight of them with being suicidal, and I don't want to die anymore. But your annoying friend isn't a trigger, I can tell by your tone. Your friend isn't triggered, they're angry, and I hate that I feel the need to police it, but every time I hear the words triggered much, I curl into myself because you don't and won't understand or sympathize with the pain I go through regularly. I almost wish, because I don't wish horror on anyone, that you could actually be triggered by the things you find triggering. Who's laughing now? In the meantime, I highly recommend you amend your vocabulary. Shook, angry, literally anything would be better. And while I have your attention, autistic is not a synonym for stupid. Nothing is retarded, and the things you don't like aren't cancer. And just because you're mad doesn't mean you're triggered.